Via the LA Times, 5 things Bruce Arena must do after taking over the US soccer team. Okay. Reach out to players. No fucking shit. 2, determine a roster and style of play. A roster! Style of play. Okay. Build a coaching staff. Well, he's not going to do it on his own, is he? 4, fix the team chemistry. Okay, I'll give you that. 5, establish depth at goalkeeper. Okay, moving on. Fox Sports. 6 things Bruce Arena needs to do to turn the US men's team around. 1, put players in their best positions. It sounds very vague, but I agree. Jurgen Klinsmann definitely put his foot in that, and his popular criticism was the fact that he played his players out of position. 2, phase out aging players. Again, I'll give you that, no problem. 3, start giving long-time snubs a chance. Okay. Number 4, clearly communicate each player's role. And 5, win over the locker room. And 6, put a singular focus on the World Cup. What is the problem here? There are so many things wrong with the media in this country when they're talking about football, my football, soccer, when they think that things are a quick fix. Bruce Arena coming in and taking this job, they think that they're going to push past the expectation that Jurgen Klinsmann has set without fixing fundamental problems in this country. I am so sick of my own voice of saying this. All these things that people are highlighting to turn around, and not one mention about the fact that this sport is one of the most elitist sports in this country, that families are having to shed out $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a year in order for their kid to potentially have a chance of playing this sport and continuing it further. Nothing. No mention of that whatsoever. Just the fact that these are the small issues that they have to fix in the team. Because you know what will happen? You'll get back into the World Cup and you'll crash out again in the last 16. That's what Jurgen Klinsmann already did. He took the US men's national team to a ceiling. They will continue to hit that ceiling. And then what's going to happen? You're going to complain again? Yeah, losing to Costa Rica and losing to Mexico is a problem. There is no doubt. It was Jurgen's time to go. I'm not making excuses for that. But bringing in a new manager and not addressing the fundamental issues that are at your core and expecting things to just turn around and get better. He can fix minor things in the team. Yeah, he can bring in new players. He can bring in youth, which has to be done. But then what's going to happen when you hit that ceiling again? And you realize that these countries that you're trying to compete with are putting everything, all their resources into developing young, talented players that don't have to shed out almost half of a family's income to try and play the sport. It's like golf. It's almost as elitist as golf. Just strap them into a polo shirt, send them out to the park, tell them they can't hit the ball because there's concussions out there, and see how many players you develop. Does anyone see any sort of reasonable explanation in this? Anybody see anything here? I can't see nothing. Either way, changing the manager is going to maybe give them a new lease of life. It's going to give them something to play for. They're going to focus on the World Cup. They're going to play players in positions. These things will fix some of the problems at the US men's national team. But mark my words, you will hit a ceiling again. You'll get back to winning ways. You'll beat the CONCACAF, which as far as a competition level, I would give my left leg and my full collection of bow ties to get Scotland to play in that division so that we could potentially qualify for a World Cup now and again. We have to compete with the rest of fucking Europe, which is dreadful. So you should be blessed in the fact that you have to compete in this division, this organization, this continent that gives you the opportunity to get into World Cup. So there is no excuse. No, you should never miss a World Cup qualification. You should always stake a claim for the Gold Cup. When you play in the Copa America, that's where you start to move into that same territory that develops world-class players relentlessly. And that's where you really realize that people are like, man, we're not that good as we think. But when you get to the World Cups, there's always an opportunity. There's always a chance. You get to the last 16, it's a one-off game. You never know. But things are not going to get to that remarkable level. And I'm so glad this article I found, this is from CBS Local in Chicago. US soccer has a problem, but it's not Jurgen Klinsmann. I don't necessarily agree with that. Jurgen Klinsmann was a problem and he put his foot in it plenty of times. But she talks about the biggest issue in US soccer is the pay-to-play club system. Like, why are we crazy that there's only small articles that are done here in the Chicago CBS Local program? A small YouTube channel like TYT Sports are yelling this from the rooftops. But Fox, ESPN, they're just so caught up in their own shite, too busy focusing on, once again, the amount of beads of sweat that come off LeBron James's head to represent how many points he scores per game, instead of maybe looking into this sport, which just because you're not the best at it, it doesn't mean you cannot be. Oh, come on, you're telling me you've got 309 million people in this country and you cannot develop some world-class soccer players because there's other sports to compete with? Maybe if you invested and gave them the opportunity and maybe broke that cultural barrier which puts middle-class families that maybe have a higher income ahead of lower-class families that cannot put their kid into a competitive division so that they can compete and maybe get a chance at pushing forward and playing this beautiful sport. So, yeah, to finish up, there is some issues, but your 5 things that you can change, your 6 things you can change, I don't care one bit about them if you don't focus on the fundamental problems in this country.